welcome everybody to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm so delighted to be here. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, and I am thrilled to be talking about igniting humanity. It is so fun, the 2024 version of Igniting Humanity. I don't know about you folks, but I'm just feeling this ignited energy, this transformation, this newness in the air, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you're feeling inspired and filled up and charged with new energy for 2024. Lots of new things happening, lots of new things unfolding. And the whole idea about this show is how we can use our heartfelt stories and the areas that we've been through in our lives and the things that have unfolded for us to ignite others. And that's going to create a ripple effect that will ignite the world and actually make a huge difference in our future going forward. And we bring great guests on the show to talk about how they're igniting humanity and how their personal experience and trials and tribulations in life have led them to be the hero of their experience. And that has inspired them to ignite others. Well, we're always here to support you. We hope you had fun over the holidays and you were doing something to ignite you. Let's dive into the show and see how you can ignite someone in your world. All right, well, our guest today is Dr. Madalina Petrescu. I said her name wrong. Petrescu is a distinguished holistic cardiologist with over 19 years of medical experience and a leader in the heart consciousness space. Madalina's path of healing and awakening to higher consciousness culminated in her becoming an international best-selling author, consciousness coach, an instinctive meditation teacher, a practitioner of reconnective energy healing, an Akashic Records reader, and a facilitator in both the Kundalini activation process and cacao ceremonies. Alongside her husband, Chris, Madalina co-created the Heart Q Method, a unique approach designed to guide others in their pursuit of heart conscious living. Dr. Madalina's deepest passion and life mission is to inspire individuals to shift from a life dominated by stress and limitations to one empowered by the vitality of their powerful hearts. We love having her here, and we're going to welcome her to the show right now. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Lady JB. It is so great to be here with you and everyone. I'm super excited for today.
Thank you so much. And you know it's going to be a conversation filled with heart. Well, I love what you and your husband are doing. And of course, I've always just been watching you and admiring you over the last few years as you're growing this very powerful movement. Tell us about HeartQ.
Well, HeartQ actually is really about, you've heard about EQ, emotional intelligence. We've heard about IQ, cognitive intelligence. So HeartQ is something that my husband and I came up, which is heart intelligence, because we talk about those two, but we feel that heart intelligence is really like the core foundation that actually emotionally, spiritually, and scientifically has been shown to actually increase your emotional intelligence, cognitive intelligence, and actually bring us back into alignment to like really live out what we're really here to live out, our soul purpose, from our heart, from inside out. And this is what we're really all about. It's really about igniting people back to return and back into the wholeness and the truth and the love and the passion of the heart, and living life from there, rather than living life, which is usually the default, from the mind and the stresses and the conditioned patterns that we are all programmed into.
Mm-hmm. You know why I really sit up and listen when you're talking is because you are a doctor, a cardiologist. You have been incredible. I remember watching you through the pandemic, showing up at work and the front lines, just literally doing the things that nobody knew what to do at the time, and being there for so many people who were suffering. And congratulations and thank you for being that. And in this study of cardiology, you've also come up with this idea, this really powerful idea, how important heart intelligence is. Can you expand a little upon that? Because some people might feel like, oh, well, that's, touchy-feely, or that's, an idea, or that's a concept. But you really have developed this tool and this modality, which proves that the heart, shows that the heart, and really lets the individual know that the heart is really the center of all of their decision making, their alignment, and how they're living their lives.
This is, JB, this is something that is so near and dear to my heart. And I always bring the bridging of, because I think all of this is important. And so what has been our experience and my experience is that so much of the reason of the stresses and the suffering that people are living from is not because of the circumstances or because of the situations going out there, but it's because of where they're living life from. And what happens is that the default way of living is to live from the stress. The stress is a conditioning. Our when we're living from the stress, it comes from the amygdala, which is our conditioned mind, which is coming from all the psychological conditioning programming that we've learned about needing to be safe, that we're not enough as we are. So we have to keep doing all these things, being all these things as inauthentic as possible, just to get to a place of wholeness and a place of love and a place of belonging. And so I think that so many people are living life from that place of like going outside to fill up something empty on the inside. And really, when it comes to the heart, it's the exact opposite. Is basically realizing and recognizing and awaking to realize that we are whole and love in our natural state. That there's nothing that we need to do or achieve or be in order to be loved, because we already are. So instead of living life as, let me do all these things from the pressure of the stresses so I can be safe and have love, it's more about I am love and I'm living life from that kind of expression. And interestingly, science is catching up, because now we have learned, it's always like that. Science catches up later, which is that we know that when we are living in heart alignment, so when we're putting our heart in the center, we get into a state of coherence. And when we're not living from our heart, when we're living from the stress of the mind, we get into a state of incoherence. So what happens is, the way this works scientifically, and medically, is that when we're living from our heart and there's a state of harmony and a state of compassion and a state of passion, then that actually sends signals to the brain that all is well. And then the mind starts to entrain with the heart energy. And now there's synchronization. There's actually activation of the memory centers, the frontal cortex, which is why now we're thinking bigger. We're thinking outside. We're connected. We're united. The part of our brain that reacts, the reactive part of the brain, the amygdala, that gets diminished when we're living from our heart, because of the coherent signals. And now we're also sending coherent signals through the entire body. And now we're sending like all kinds of signals for biochemistry and hormones that are pro health, pro joy, pro unity, and pro longevity. So that's what happens with heart intelligence. This is like literally showing in MRI studies. This is not just something that's conceptual. Whereas when people are living in stress emotions, when we're not from the heart, we're living from reactivity, judgment, separation. So that's not from the heart. When we're living from that kind of stress, now there's different kinds of signals going from the heart into the brain, which is, it's not safe. It's not safe. Now the survival pathways are activated. The memory part of the brain gets deactivated. One of the reasons people start to forget, the frontal brain, which is the smart brain, gets deactivated, which is why people can't think. And now they're all limited and they're all, living from the survival energy. The amygdala, which is the reactive brain, gets all activated. And now all the signals that are translated into the body is inflammatory. It's pro-cortisol, pro-adrenaline. That's what actually starts to enter the body. And people are living in a state of inflammation, living in a state of survival. And this is what I notice that happens. And this is what causes the disease. This is what causes the unease, the anxiety, the depression. It really all comes down to that. So that's why my philosophy is that the more that we can support people to really just keep coming back to the home and the truth and the wholeness of the heart and live life from that space, from inside out, everything starts to happen in the way of coherence, in the way of health, in the way of emotional intelligence, not to mention alignment, alignment with our soul. And now everything starts to line up.
You had me thinking about a lot of people I know. I mean, they're constantly working, they're constantly in stress, they're constantly getting injured, or they're constantly getting sick. And you made me think a lot about inflammation and how that is affecting people in their wellness and their health. But you also made me think about like how many people, we've just come through the holidays, were feeling so much more ease and relaxed, and things were flowing better because they were more in a heart space. So for those of us who can relate to this wonderful sharing, that are seeing themselves in this pattern when they're not living from the heart, Is there some things that you can suggest that we can do to become more heart aligned?
Oh, JB, this has been like my journey, right? And I think that kind of the natural default way of being in the society is to do the opposite of what is in our highest good. Like the
Mm.
opposite, we kind of get this conditioning and this programming, like do everything for everyone. But if we're not actually honoring and taking care of ourselves and taking care of our spirit and our heart and our soul, then how can we show up as the true version of ourselves, as the loving version of ourselves? Because if we're not tending to ourselves, we're not able to emanate that into the world. So, what I always say, my recommendation always is, put yourself in the center of your life and, give yourself what you need. I think the number one thing that I would recommend to people is spend more time with yourself, with your soul.
Mm.
Spend like the art of listening, like spending, like there's so many things everybody's doing, to-do lists and achieving, and it's all wonderful and great. We got to do all those things to achieve our goals, but it's so important to like pause, have like dedicated daily activity where every single day there's a pausing and a spending that sacred time with your soul to really listen and to ask. There's 4 questions that help you to really connect to your heart. There's 4 questions.
Tell us.
Yeah. So the first one is, are you feeling? Because, the mind is thinking, but the heart feels.
Mm.
So are you feeling your feelings? Are you feeling your emotions? A lot of times what causes a distress is not wanting to feel. And so people numb or escape or run away from feeling. And that's one of the problems, like in relationships and eating and health and all of that, not feeling and processing our emotions.
I
So
don't
that's
have enough time to feel that. I don't have enough time to like worry about that. Oh, put the feelings aside. Let's get to the facts. Very
exactly.
interesting. It's part of our cultural language.
It is, right? It's like there's no time for that, especially if it's not positive. Oh my goodness, let's not do it. But it's us feeling our feelings that actually creates vitality, and that we're
Mhm.
able to actually feel ourselves, get authentic, get intimate with ourselves, and then we can actually create intimate, authentic relationship with others. So that's number 1. Are you feeling? Number 2 is, and I love this one so much, which is, are you being present? Are you running in life and doing? Are you also being? Just being. Are you being present to the whole entire, like right now, you and I, we are so present. We are so fully here in the now, where a lot of times what happens, we're in the future or in the past. We're projecting our path from the past, we're projecting it in the present moment, or we're living our now thinking about the future. So we're not really present to the now. And the heart is all about, are we fully present to experience the abundance of this moment right now, the fullness, the abundance, the experience, and the richness of it? So that's the second question.
It's a
The
great,
third,
great thing because, sorry, many of us just,
yeah,
we go from one thing to the next and we just, we don't even stop to celebrate things and celebrate accomplishments or take a moment to like really breathe in, the experience or just pause before we run out the door. And so I think that one is so important. Just giving yourself your heart a little bit of extra time to saturate in this moment instead of rushing to the
yes.
next one. Love it. Love it.
JB,
Love it.
like to be honest, like that is actually why the meditations, why people do ceremonies. Now we do cacao ceremony to really slow everything down
Mhm.
to that
Mhm.
moment and to just feel, because it's in the being of the present moment that we can receive all of it. Because when we're not being present, we're going forward, we're running forward, right? And there's a balance in life. We got to do both. But if we're not pausing to just be present and receive what's already here in this moment, then how
Mhm.
can we truly be fulfilled with what it is that we have? We're always seeking otherwise, right? So anyway, that's the second one. And to us, like we have found that to be one of the most powerful. We actually create ceremonies to support people for this, because in the society it's not happening. That's why the ceremony is a structure, so we support people to be in the now. And then it's like,
Mm,
wow, what an amazing feeling it is. And there's nothing we have to do except be present to what already is here.
lovely.
And the third one is, are you doing what you love? Are you
Mm.
an expression of love? Like, are you present? Are you doing what you love, or are you just kind of what you should? It's different when I'm doing what I should do, what I have to do, versus am I doing what I really love, what I'm passionate about, what I'm excited about, what I'm in love with? Am I honoring that? So that's a third question. And then the fourth one is,
Oh, before you go to the fourth, I
yes,
just want to
yes.
say I'm a big proponent of number 3 because I'm
I know
always
you are.
like, throw back the covers. Let's go. Today's the day. I love what we're doing. I love it. And I want people to feel every single
Yeah.
day throwing back the covers because they love what they do. They love who they're with. They love the people they work around. They love their mission. They love being on purpose. Can you imagine how different humanity would be if we were all living in a place of loving what we do? I mean, you can't love every single thing, but I mean, really,
Yeah.
like, to 80-20 rule, like, you really love
Yes.
what you're doing and you feel that huge love, which becomes the ripple effect because the other person sees you loving it. They do what they love. They shine their light on others. They're enjoying it. Other people are enjoying it. Like, folks, can you see how that grows so quickly by doing what you love? I'm loving number 3, but tell me number 4.
I know. I feel like you are such a like true emanation of that. Like this is what you this is like, I don't know if you realize this is what you actually do. You being who you are ignites that in others. And I think like you said, the best way that we can change the world is ourselves to be
Mm-hmm.
that we want to change. You know, it's like that's how we do it, one person at a time, one heart at a time. So I love that. And I think that when people are honoring what they love, now they actually start to create alignment in life, right? The fourth one is, am I being true? Am I being honest with myself? Am I being true with myself? Because I think a lot of times we walk in life, but that reflection is so important because, you know, in order for us to evolve and to grow into the most expanded and authentic version of ourselves, it really takes that constant self-aware, compassionate and loving, not
Mm-hmm.
judgmental,
Right.
self-awareness where, wait, hold on, what just happened right now? Let me be honest with myself. Was that a pattern, that a program that I learned? Was that really an honest thing that I did? Was that some history, some old habit that I did? Or was that my true honest way of my heart? You know? And I think when people start to have that reflection, that pausing and that reflection, what's really true here? And if we start to do that, now we start to create the healing and the evolution that is available for all of us. I think these are the things that I think that should people create space for every single day. This is how we get to evolve and to connect more into our heart and to like start really living a life of alignment, because I really feel that the number one cause of stress in life, which actually creates disease and inflammation, is because of it depends on the degree of misalignment from our true soul, heart, and path. And the more we're off path, the more the suffering, you know, the more the depression, the more the anxiety. So that's why, you know, breakdowns are actually an amazing signal. Oh, wait, something, I'm really far off. I'm really far away from my true alignment with my true self, you know, in a way, again, not in a way that's blaming or judgmental. That's what the ego wants. No, in a way that's inviting, you know. And anyway, that's what I
Well, I
wanted.
love question 4 because it actually is a bit auspicious because somebody just recently told me that today is Blue Monday. I didn't know what Blue Monday was, but apparently it's a trend that 21 or 22 days after New Year's, they call it Blue Monday, where most people fall off of their New Year's resolutions or have let go of their what the fourth question is all about. Am I being true to myself? And a lot of us review our year or review our behavior or review our actions during the New Year's and jump into January with that in mind. But it's really great that you say it's not a once a year thing. Really asking these questions of yourself continuously is going to keep you in that alignment. It's so, so true. Shifting gears, let's talk a little bit about what was the Ignite moment? What was the inspiration and the impetus of all of this work that you're doing?
Well, you know, everything starts from the journey, right? And I think for me, what happened is 14 years ago, when I was a very busy cardiologist, mother of two girls, leader, and faculty teacher, I was living life, you know, on the outside, it seemed like I had it all, like, wow, she really has it all. But in the internally, I was really struggling. I had so many things I was balancing, not to mention a busy cardiology job with emergencies, on-call burdens, sleepless nights, and leadership. And I was the one that put all these on my plate, right? And trying to balance with my two daughters and being a wife. Of course, there was no time for me. So I was putting so much pressure on me to do it all. I had these patterns of perfectionism, workaholic, overachiever, yes sayer, people pleaser, self-sacrifice, right? All of these. And I didn't know that I was operating from these patterns, but I was having so much pressure on myself to create that balance. And I was operating from the survival state where there was like not a moment in my life for reflection or for time for feeling or to just check in, hey, because there was just so much to do. And I think a lot of doctors live like that, like the way that the training program is set up, it doesn't leave any time. And actually, if there is time for self, it's considered like lazy, like, oh, that person's, look at that person. Like, it's crazy. It's like such a paradigm shift that is so needed, right? And so I was just doing what everybody else was doing. I was just doing whatever it was I had learned in unconsciousness. I was doing best with what I knew, which is so
Right.
important. Right. And so what happened is eventually, and the way that I was able to operate in this kind of matrix is I used to run. That was my way of my medicine of like keeping going in this way of living that wasn't authentic or honest for me. Right. And so running was my medicine. I would just run away from feeling, run away from having to reflect. And until one day where basically I had an injury, I was running really fast. And then I developed the severe back pain. And that happened before and it would go away. But this one didn't go away. Like it literally lasted and it kept getting worse and nothing seemed to help. For 1 year I went from place to place, doctor to doctor, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, this wasn't going away for 1 year. And then 1 year after, I just had a breakdown where I was just like miserable. I wasn't able to run. I used to be an athlete, marathons, triathlons, and now I couldn't run. Now, because I wasn't running, all the things that I was numbing and escaping, now they were all coming up and I didn't know how to deal with them. And I was struggling. And then what happened, interestingly, like from my bookshelf, these two books fell into my hand, and I guess I bought them, but I don't remember buying them. But one, like they just kind of like popped up, like almost hit me on the head, which is by Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and something with Wayne Dyer, The Path to Enlightenment. One of they just fell on me, and I was like, what are these? And something happened. I started reading those. I started going through, and something in that moment there, I realized that there was something deeper going on here, that this was not about me trying to get rid of my back pain, but there was something deeper calling me into a deeper type of healing that was needed. And that's when I started bringing all of my energy and my attention to myself, to healing myself, to realizing, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Because the tip of the iceberg, it's like the focus is right there, but what's really going on?
Right.
And that's when I started really going deep and realizing, wow, I've been living life from this programming, from the mind, which gets its counsel from psychological conditioning, which is not the
Right.
self.
Great word. That's a great
And
reference. I love that.
yeah, and that's kind of what I had been doing, and completely unaware that I was doing that I was constantly seeking to prove that it was enough, because I was starting out with the premise that I'm not enough, because that's what happens when we're coming from the mind of psychological conditioning. So the endless seeking to be enough, to do enough, and like never pausing to realize, wait, where is me in all of this? Who am I really beneath all of these layers, beneath all of this stuff that I've been doing? Who am I really? And I realized how absolutely and completely disconnected I had been from my soul, from my heart. And that's when I started the journey. That's when I brought all the hunger that I've been putting it out there, I brought it in here. And that's when I started the spiritual journey and the spiritual path, which includes the science and the psychology and the spirituality and all the paths that really brought me back into the truth of who I really am and my deeper purpose, which is right now about helping people to support their own return to their own heart and ignite their own heart, which is their own superpower. Because it's not about me telling people what to do, because I don't know what's best for them. Their heart knows what's best for them. But I think the heart is kind of buried beneath all the layers of conditioning, that all the layers that we've built to protect ourselves against the world for whatever hurt and trauma now is preventing us from connecting to the deepest part of ourselves. So it's really about, how do we reconnect back to that deep part within, which is our heart, and use that as our guiding light, as our North Star in life. And so that's really what it's all about.
Well, you really made me think that we all have a heart, obviously. It's not something we have to buy. We don't have to go on vacation. We don't have to buy a training program. We don't have to invest in anything. We all have it right within us, and learning how to use it in a way that really supports us. Obviously, that's the training that you're doing. And I think it's so valuable because you're right. We do get into this conditioning. And as parents, we want to teach our kids to be in alignment with their heart. As parents, or as kids, we want to teach our parents how to be in line with their heart. And that just builds this ripple effect of people really caring about each other. I actually said the other day, the only way to teach love is to be loving. You can't ask someone else to be loving and caring if you're not doing it yourself. And so it's a really important ripple effect that you're creating. I love your sharing, and your story it's so relatable for so many people, especially people obviously who are working very hard and sort of going through the motions. They're giving up some of their personal dreams and ambitions and desire, even their health. They're putting that on compromise for this I'm not enoughness, and trying to always create a better version of themselves. And you are perfect and wonderful just the way you are. And you have given us so much. Well, folks, I just want you to know, if you would like to reach out to Dr. Madalina, you can find more information at her website. Lots and lots of things to share and ways that she can connect with you. Thank you so much for being on the show. I can't wait until I'm in your presence and at one of your ceremonies and just being with you. Love you so much, you and your husband. Blessings and take care. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Thank you, JV.
Big blessings. Have a great day. Well, folks, I hope that was helpful for you, because, look down to you have a beautiful heart right there, and that heart needs to be taken care of. You need to be in love with it. You need to be loving to it and emanating that love from it, because that love is truly going to ignite humanity. There's so many things that each and every one of us can do, little, small, incremental things that are starting to move the needle in the way humanity is. And if you're into astrology or doing any of the things around 2024, this is a powerful year. Things are shifting astrologically. The planets are moving in different ways, and this next 20 years is going to be a great time for humanity. When you read about it and do any sort of research, things are changing, things are building, things are growing, and we're really stepping into this beautiful sense of harmony with all, and connectiveness and inclusion, and all this willingness to be together in a very beautiful way for humanity. Well, if you'd like to know more what we're up to, please check out our website. We're doing lots over at ignitehumanity.life, talking about our book series, our docu-series, our big book compilation book that we're doing, schools that we're building. Igniting Humanity really is making a big footprint on the planet to make a change and ignite your life and the lives of others. And if you'd like to know more about how to be on the show, well, we'd love to showcase you and talk about how you're igniting humanity. So please fill out our type form. Tell us what you're up to so we can have you share on this show what you're doing to ignite humanity. All right, blessings, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.